State funeral in nation's capital set for 12th March. Citizens urged to pay their last respects at the Haus Krai. And parishioners remember Sir Michael, a Catholic faithful.
This is National EMTV News with Dennis Orere.
Good evening, this is Monday's news. While public servants and citizens around the country observe the declared public holiday marking the start of the mourning period, a tentative program of the state funeral for the late Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare was announced by Prime Minister James Marape today. The program outlines what citizens across the country can expect during the days of the mourning period, as well as days leading up to the state funeral. Annette Cora reports.
Following announcements made pertaining to government honouring the will of the late Grand Chief to be brought back to his home province and laid to rest, a follow-up conference took place earlier today where Prime Minister James Marape outlined a tentative program that will run through the next 2 weeks of mourning period and the rest of the days leading up to the Grand Chief's state funeral and his departure. Starting tomorrow, 2nd of March 2021 through to Thursday, 11th March 2021 next week, 2 provincial groups have been consigned designated dates to visit the public Haus Krai at the Sir John Guy's Indoor Complex.
And this evening, our Haus Krai will be visited by our Motu Koita people in our city. Tomorrow evening, Central and Gulf will visit Haus Krai. On Wednesday evening, Milne Bay, Oro and Western Province. On Thursday evening, East New Britain, West New Britain, New Ireland. On Friday evening, Manus, the Autonomous Region of Bougainville, and Enga will visit the Haus Krai. On Saturday evening, you will have Eastern Highlands and Chimbu visiting the Haus Krai. On Sunday, the 7th of March, you will have Jiwaka and Western Highlanders visiting the Haus Krai. On Monday the 8th, you'll have Hela and Southern Highlands visiting the Haus Krai. On Tuesday the 9th, you will have the Medang and Morobe provinces visiting the Haus Krai. And on Wednesday the 10th, East Sepik and West Sepik will visit the Haus Krai.
The NCD governor is set to play host to the public Haus Krai here in the nation's capital.
The governors and the leaders of those respective provinces will coordinate, but NCDC, the team that is set up by NCD, led by Governor, the Honorable Powers Pakop, and the Chairman of Motu Koita, the Honorable Dari Toka Jr., will be the main host. And we will all be sitting in their presence, but we ask our citizens and those who will come to the Haus Krai to come in a decorum befitting, a manner befitting of a Grand Chief.
On Thursday, 11th of March 2021, the Grand Chief will lie in state at the National Parliament House. On Friday, 12th of March, the Grand Chief's state funeral will be hosted at the Sir Hubert Murray Stadium at Coney, starting at 2 p.m. On the 13th, the family will spend a private moment with their father for the last time before he departs for his home province to be finally laid to rest at Krea Heights on the 14th of March 2021.
Morning of the 14th, the body will leave Port Moresby for the last time back home to East Sepik Province. And then proceedings in East Sepik Province will take place in partnership with the East Sepik Provincial Government and the traditional elders and the family as we move into the final few days in which the Grand Chief will be taken care of.
The Prime Minister reiterated yet again that despite calls for a nationwide tour, nothing of such will eventuate as the Grand Chief's body is not in a state where it can sustain that much movement.
So the family did advise that the body is not in a state to do an extensive national tour, simply because every part of the country is same for Grand Chief. You just can't take to regional headquarters or 1 or 2 areas in our country. If we were to allow the body to move, then 20 provinces and our special region of Bougainville, so there's a 21 possible stop. And the family felt that the body cannot sustain that level of movement.
He has called for reasoning from all citizens and has assured extensive coverage from all broadcasters.
We'll have a special parliament on the 11th. At the same time, all broadcasts will take place nationwide. And as I said earlier, schools throughout our country being asked to ensure their school sites, halls in school sites be set up as a place of point of reference in which the community and our people can get around to witness not just the parliamentary proceedings in which we will pay our last parliamentary respect on behalf of the country to Grand Chief.
And Cora, National EMTV News.
Monuments and Memorial Park will be built in designated parts of the nation's capital in honor of the country's founding father. Prime Minister James Marape made this announcement yesterday while announcing other plans surrounding the funeral and burial. Many citizens also called for the government to erect a monument at Independence Hill.
Following the state's decision to honor the will of the country's founding father on his final resting place, citizens have raised concerns over this decision. Some have gone on social media calling on the state to build a monument in honor of the Grand Chief. They say if he is not going to be buried at the Independence Hill, a monument must be built in his honor. Some have thanked the government for honoring the Grand Chief's will, while some are still against the decision. And the opposition leader is one of those who thought the Grand Chief should be laid to rest at Independence Hill.
It's not no longer summary to the family. It's the summary of Papua New Guinea. And so I would make this call to Sana, Ata, Peter, Dulcie, and Michael, and to Lady Veronica.
Following the announcement yesterday, Prime Minister James Marape announced the government's plan to have monuments built at designated areas. He says monuments and memorial park will be built at the Independence Boulevard and the National Museum, together with a bronze statue of the Grand Chief.
In consultation with the family, that we will do the monument and the national remembrance sort of memorial here in Port Moresby at the Independence Hill, and a specific designated park will be established along the boulevard and a National Museum precinct, where it will be Somare Peace and Unity Park, and a monument established. We will also set up a bronze statue at the Somare Foundation Runabout. When visitors come into a country, they are welcome into the country by a big bronze statue of the Grand Chief.
His final resting place at Krai Heights in Wewak, East Sepik Province, will be a site of national significance. The Prime Minister says a museum will be built there for all citizens, including visitors to this site, to learn about the country's founding father.
But the bones, the final resting place, will be placed in a state land in East Sepik Province. Krai Heights Moso, a place that is built. That place will become a site of national significance. It will be a museum site. It will be classified as a Somare Museum, where National Museum will curate over that site now and on into the future. And it will also be a place where the nation can search for when they want to see the story of Somare and the story of our country.
East Sepik Governor Alan Baird also acknowledged the government, saying there is wisdom in his will to be buried in Wewak, and that is for his people to visit him in his home.
That's the message from Sir Michael to all of us, his children. Come lo place blomi. Come and see the beauty that is East Sepik. Visit Murik Lakes if you can. See where his people are. And I think that is the invitation to all of us. In death, he sends us a message.
Rayon Lakingu, National EMTV News.
A great part of Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare's life was attending church every Sunday. In Port Moresby, he attends the St. Joseph Catholic Church at East Borroco. Parishioners remember him as a down-to-earth person and a true example of a God-fearing man.
A bouquet and a candle placed where he always sits in church every Sunday. It was placed on the day the Sumare family announced that Grand Chief Sir Michael Sumare had passed. This is St. Joseph Catholic Church in Port Moresby. Sir Michael and Lady Veronica have never missed a Sunday service. If the church was filled, parishioners always reserve this spot for them, knowing this is where they sit every Sunday.
Every 8:15 Mass, we know that Michael Sumare is here with us, so long as he's in the country or he's in the province. So Michael Sumare, a faithful leader, a humble leader, a gentle leader, and a leader who will never create any division but unity. And that's how I see Michael Sumare. And his favorite place in the church is the place where we leave the flower and the candle. That's where he comes in with Lady Veronica and they sit there. If the place is full, the parishioners know. They make space so they will still come and sit down there.
Among the many fond memories of Sir Michael, every Sunday, Sister Anastasia remembers this.
And I remember one day he came here for Mass during an ordination. And Michael Sumare walked into the church and the parish priest said, that's our former Prime Minister, the man who brought Papua New Guinea out from darkness to light. And the Australian ladies were around with us, so one of them asked him, where are your bodyguard? And he says to them, I don't need a bodyguard when I walk into God's house. I am a faithful man in my country, I am free to practice my faith. So I come into God's house as any parishioner in this church, and I will leave this church like every other parishioners. I don't need a bodyguard.
Fellow parishioner Madeline Dira will dearly miss the after-church service meetings with Sir Michael every Sunday, rushing quickly to the main door to wait for him walk out so she could greet him. She describes him as a man full of warmth and down-to-earth who had time to talk to everyone no matter their status.
I will miss his presence because every 8:15 Mass he comes and he walks out. I follow him out and greet him, say hello to him, shake hands with him, and I wish him a blessed week and see him on the next Sunday. And he gives me that warming smile. He gives me that warming smile, a very warm smile. I see him, and that really always strikes my heart. When I heard that he passed away on the 26th, lewa blomi and buruk. Because he is our Catholic faithful leader. I see him as the man who brings peace to every corner of this country. He brought peace to other Melanesian countries too. And that is something I would treasure always in my heart. And I will miss him. I miss him especially every Sunday.
Parishioners here had the privilege of sharing their life with the Grand Chief and will surely miss him. One thing is for sure, it will be a struggle to put out this candle. Shamin Poreambab, National EMTV News.
Thousands all over Papua New Guinea took to the streets this morning to mark the start of the National Week of Mourning for the Grand Chief Sir Michael Sumare. In his home province in Wewak, many dressed in black with their faces painted in mud marched from Perigo outside Wewak town to the Grand Chief's residence and later into the town centre. Town residents were also seen cleaning their residential areas in preparation for the Grand Chief's arrival next week Sunday. In Madang, university students from the Divine Word University were up early this morning to show their respects and later marched into town along with town residents. Similar marches are expected to happen in other parts of the country during the week. Meanwhile, at the border of East and West Sepik provinces, Two LLGs, one in Ambunti Drekikir and the other in Nuku district, came together to set up a Haus Krai. A spokesperson at the Haus Krai expressed great sadness and said though basic services have not reached the two LLGs, it is through Sir Michael PNG is now an independent nation. They will gather here to celebrate the life of Sir Michael and continue until he is laid to rest at Kria Heights. And we go live now to Sejonggai Stadium, where we have live pictures of the Haus Krai venue for late Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare. The Prime Minister has arrived at the Haus Krai. We will go back to that a little later. You're watching National EMTV News. More of the day's stories after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. A group of young men from Lae's Kamkumung area marched out to the main road and stopped company vehicles and PMV buses from operating this morning. They said all businesses should cease operations and adhere to the public holidays during the mourning period. A few opportunists took advantage of the situation and attempted to loot shops, but police intervened quickly and brought the situation under control.
This morning, the main road from Eriku to Kamkumu area was blocked off by groups of young men. They stopped the PMV buses and company vehicles from operating this morning, saying today was a public holiday of the founding father of the country and all business houses should respect this.
The way no concern the citizens in city or like if it is a public holiday, meaning that MI must get total shutdown. No PMB, no government total shutdown, at least for a day.
The public holiday announced by the government follows the passing of PNG's founding father and first Prime Minister, Grand Chief late Sir Michael Somare. The country is currently mourning the death of the Grand Chief until he would be put to rest. While some young men were calling on the public to respect the mourning period and the public holidays, opportunists took advantage of the situation to loot shops and caused chaos that was controlled by the Lae police who intervened. Julie Badui, Owa, National EMTV News, Lae.
Lae police were also out in full force this morning to monitor hotspots around the city. Police teams were stationed at Kamkumung, Eriku and the Miles areas to look out for opportunists. Lae City was fairly quiet today with only one reported incident of a store being looted at the 9 Mile area.
This was the scene at the 9 Mile area this morning. Opportunists looted the store, making a dash with whatever they could carry. At Eriku, the glass walls of a Chinese old building was smashed.
So, tubla card tubla bin stab, tubla redo kam base tubla kenna tubla security kam ken, or press one unit to the more some landsmen tubla, na tubla moving more out na tubla maintaining this there, or promoting a do I think more same stuff.
These incidents were reportedly done by the public out of anger that all shops should remain closed today as a sign of respect. Police, on the other hand, patrol the city's hotspots, telling people to stay off the streets and respect this day at their homes. Kamkumu and Eriku were some of the places that were patrolled this morning. A convoy of police vehicles drove up the Miles area conveying the same message. Meanwhile, apart from the looting incident, the city was almost empty today. All the shops were closed, including the main market. No buses were on the road. While some residents planned to stage house cries for the late Grand Chief at their homes, some were out today to show their respect. Charlene Airy, National EMTV News, Leh.
The Morobe Provincial Executive Council has requested for the funeral entourage to spend a day in Leh to allow for the people of Morobe to pay their respects. Governor Ginsen Saunu conveyed the decision in a news conference this afternoon, saying Morobians stood by Sir Michael during the formative years of the country and it would be proper if a day was allocated for this purpose. The PEC has also imposed a liquor ban in the province during the 2-week mourning period.
Maybe make him decision to or some must get liquor ban. Liquor ban start long tomorrow, 2nd March. He going up long 15th of March. And must liquor ban long Morobe province. Body stable lay. Maybe declare him as holiday throughout the province. Time body belong chief established at Morobe province. And this day and by holiday. Our schools must close. All apply activities must close.
And back in Port Moresby, the elected leaders and citizens joined the rest of the country to mourn the loss of the Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare with a special Haus Krai organized by the NCD governor at the Sejong Gai's indoor complex. Many arrived as early as 10 a.m. today before the 6 p.m. event.
A shop in Port Moresby that never stops operating 24/7, 365 every year. But for the first time it's closed, a sign of respect as all businesses in the big city, shopping malls and government offices, even the busy CBD is deserted. No public transport, movement was limited. Citizens moved in groups on foot and on private wheels towards the Sejong Gai's indoor complex for the start of the Haus Krai, many arriving before lunchtime today for the evening event. The Haus Krai, the wake of the Grand Chief, late Sir Michael Somare, a Melanesian gathering, a Papua New Guinean gathering to pay respects to a man who has contributed immensely to the country, Papua New Guinea. Now, the Melanesian way, of course, is something that the late Sir Michael Somare stood for during his political career and life. People who didn't have vehicles were disappointed that the Haus Krai was organized for nighttime.
Get past, why not pass him gate? Hey, mom, the ghost and maglo, me mama, again me ghost now. Me ghost him got man now. Night on big shot, man. Carman Albaran, Mingrasus one Papiameri. Now you may wear them clothes, you may talk English, you may talk vision all white. Money come up and that's so strong and stable Michael Samari. Me play like show him this black and respect him. Good black papa blonde this black country. When him talk you, cap man make him or big black man make him, you must sting him. Or legal man marry. All like show him respect long. Papa belong all long this black country.
But this didn't have any impact on the people's growing presence. Hosting the Haus Krai at night or day, a healthy presence was still maintained outside the gates of the sports complex, waiting to go in to show their respects to the man who led the country out of colonial rule and delivered independence in 1975. Bradley Valenaki, National EMTV News.
And here now are live pictures from the Haus Krai at the Sejonggai Stadium. Throughout this week, mourners are urged to pay their respects here, and everyone is welcome to turn up in groups representing their province. Starting tonight with the Motu Koitabu people, tomorrow the Central Province and Gulf. Wednesday for Milne Bay, Oro and Western. On Thursday, people representing East New Britain, West New Britain and New Ireland. Friday is set aside for Manus, Autonomous Region of Bougainville and Enga. Saturday, Eastern Highlands and Chimbu. Sunday, Jiwaka and Western Highlands. On Monday, 8th of March, Hela and Southern Highlands. Then on Tuesday, Medang and Morobe. And final day, Haus Krai on Wednesday, 10th of March, will be East and West Sepik. And a reminder, EMTV will live stream pictures from the Haus Krai on our Facebook page starting tonight at 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. You're watching National EMTV News. The day's other stories when we come back. Don't go away. Welcome back. Sad news for the health sector as they announced the death of Dr. Paisen Dakulala. Dr. Dakulala had served as the acting secretary for the Department of Health and deputy controller during the COVID-19 crisis and played a pivotal role in managing processes in addressing this health crisis. Police Commissioner and Controller of the PNG COVID-19 National Pandemic Response, David Manning, has expressed his deepest condolences to Dr. Dakulala's family. He said Dr. Dakulala was a selfless man, and despite his medical condition, he stood with him and provided the support and advice as they took on a global pandemic that has affected millions of people around the world. The Office of the United Nations in PNG also highly praised Dr. Dakulala for his hard work to protect communities across PNG through his tireless leadership as Deputy Controller throughout the pandemic and through the many health challenges that have persisted since the pandemic began, including polio and measles vaccination. The Tuguba Walo clans in the PNG LNG project are calling on MRDC to withdraw the state team from the area. They say no proper consultation was done with the clan where the Heights Condition plant is situated. Landowner representatives say their benefits are being withheld by the developer, while the state is also reluctant to support the resource owners to finalize the clan vetting process.
The Tuguba clan leaders expressed dissatisfaction with how state authorities have handled their clan vetting process. They say their benefits are locked away as processes to access funds keep delaying. They call on MRDC to withdraw the state team currently in Hela.
This lakan all this land decision and big blood decision so mi pla tuku walong pa sabe chat mi pla pa sabe pas tem. Gas condition plan pa balong mi pla sabe. Na mi pla lagi mo so MRDC you withdraw mi this la mak nogon magam this la Arjun Chairman and Director of both Nogan Magam in given 7 days you withdraw in this law than a comeback before having a project come up in Salo plan side area.
The Tuguba Walo clan owns 60% of the area where the Heights Condition plant is situated. They do not prefer to stop ongoing operations but want state authorities to hear their plea. They believe if nothing tangible is done, the future of their clans will be uncertain despite hosting an important asset of the LNG project.
Mipla after long this now mipla go by complex place na and mipla ba work one time. Make no mipla countries so mipla now this type project go one but you must department must you mipla cooperate one time na help me go come na hand him this land this in mipla tuko walo. After long this now you inform association you inform one by making so treasury national planning finance mipla try mipla help him money mipla tuko walo ILG.
This is not the first time the Tugubawalo clan have approached the media over issues faced as resource owners. They want justice and justice to allow for other work to be carried out in their area of concern. They are appealing to Minister Kerengakua and relevant state agencies to hear their plea.
So, me ask him, Petroleum Minister, Department Secretary, now one time Department blowing, only assisting me the first track in this water near in Blomibla.
Rayon Lakingu National, MTV News.
Wafi landowners from the special mining lease area, Pipeline and Outfall want the Wafi mining project to continue without delay. They have opposed a call by Morobe Governor Ginson Saunu to take further legal action against the state over the approval of the environment permit to developers. The landowners say it is a waste of time, money and resources.
Pipeline, DSTV.
These men represent the Wafi Golpu Landowners Associations from the special mining lease area, Pipeline and Outfall. They made their stance clear regarding the Morobe governor's plans to further court proceedings against the state for granting the environment permit to developers.
And we want our governor to respect that and work with our government, work with us, the principal landowners and the developer. And let's get this project rolling. We don't want to see any more court proceedings.
Come towards us, talk to us, respectively, so that we can all work as a team for the good of the project. That right time, we development forum.
These concerns follow a public forum against Wafi Golpu's deep-sea tailings disposal held at the Ser Ignatius Kilage Outdoor Stadium 2 weeks ago. The development forum was organized by Morobe Governor Ginson Saunu, who demanded the government to withdraw the approval of the environmental permit. The Landowner Association leaders said they were not aware of the forum as they weren't invited. In an interview after the forum, Governor Saunu aired his concerns over the granted environment permit issued to developers by the state. While the governor has indicated possible court proceedings against the state, it is understood that Saunu was present during that signing, agreeing to the approval in principle.
At the moment, process of addressing this is incomplete. So court is the last resort. But amicable approach is the way to go.
The leaders from Hengambu, Yanta, Babuaf, Wampar Pipeline and the Wagang Outfall say the provincial government should focus on mobilizing resources for the project and not court cases. Lucy Kopana, National MTV News, Leh.
While there has been a lot of awareness and discussions opposing the use of deep-sea tailings placement in Morobe, the Wafi mining project landowners have agreed with this tailings option. In a joint news conference, they made their stance known, saying they opposed the use of a tailings storage facility.
Meeting the community blomi, meeting the community boundary water river, na makam na pinishim no leshiti na labu. Anything happen of them, and it will happen if you put it them. I'm a baramogra community around that river. Also, for me as a leader, Boba mi bato nogat.
Riverside, mountain, and nogat together. Me plus sabotim company long DSTP na project maskira. As ting lo mi platok nogat tulsem. Time Guria come up, build him tailings and by big pla mining some 50 years.
The project must go yet. After all the survey, all the studies, deep sea, on the now the all plenty of studies become up before to finish. Come all doctors, blow you all 4 doctors where Saul is all come to this floor. More person government login thing advice me on this floor. Only talk out to.
The Livestock Development Agency is on a mission to revive the livestock industry in the country. The past few weeks have been dedicated to visiting provincial abattoirs and cattle ranches throughout the country. With the backing of a determined agriculture minister, the team were in Rabaul district recently to sign an agreement with the province to revive the Kurakakau livestock and cattle ranch.
This was a big occasion for the people of Rabaul district who waited at the Tokua airport for the arrival of the Agriculture Minister John Simon. Despite the minister arriving late on Friday afternoon due to Air Niugini's flight delays, he was warmly welcomed by a traditional Sing Sing group. It was then another hour driving to Kurakakau in the Rabaul district where preparations were done for the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding. The MOU was signed between the Livestock Development Corporation Limited and the East New Britain Development Corporation and Rabaul District Investment Corporation. Livestock Development Corporation, or LDC, is a government entity tasked to revive the livestock industry in the country. The purpose of this MOU is to establish a framework for cooperation between the parties concerned, through which parties will work together to establish and run the Kurakakau livestock and cattle ranch. Kurakakau was once an estate owned by the Department of Agriculture that was breeding cattle among other livestock. The land is now owned by the Rabaul DDA, with the land committed to reviving the cattle industry in the province.
We do not have any unrenewable resources. You may not got gas, you may not got big copper mine, you may not got gold, no God. But God has blessed this province with agriculture.
Let us commit to sacrifice and accept low wages so that we can grow this industry. It is ours. It is not for any foreigner. Every person connected with the implementation of this livestock and cattle ranch project should change his or her mindset so that we commit to sacrifice in what we do for the project.
Nami hamamas truosem there is willingness lo district lo work one time DAL na work one time LDC na got this la willingness lo work one time lo province lo work one time Mibla. Lo this la the soul Mibla can move him province na move him plenty work go forward.
So me osem man we go pass lo work lo livestock in solo country and me basta bakser lo top lo minister na Mibla lak starting work kirap long livestock in Salong, New Guinea Islands province, na ba Mibla start lo Kurakakau.
The national budget, provincial budgets and Rabaul district budgets are expected to provide a physical capital for the annual operation of the livestock and cattle ranching project, with Dr. Marat emphasizing that financial management of the project must not be taken lightly. And while planning and meetings will commence following the MOU signing for this project, the minister announced that NEC has approved to build a livestock quarantine facility. This will allow PNG to purchase livestock from overseas markets and ship to PNG. With the huge agriculture potential the province has, the business arms of the district and the province sees this agreement as a great business opportunity. Shamin Poriambab, National EMTV News.
True Krai Sports is next. All the details after the break. Stay with us.
True Krai Sports.
Welcome to True Krai Sports. PNG Football Association President John Capinato, commenting during the close of the Southern Conference of the Women's National Soccer League, praised the players for their commitment and discipline during the maiden season of the WNSL, paving the way for the future of high-level competition for women's football in the country.
At the conclusion of the Southern Conference season proper, PNG FA President John Capinato commended all the participating teams for making the conference possible in the maiden season of the Women's National Soccer League. Capinato congratulated FC Genesis and NCD Hekari United for finishing as the top two teams, representing the conference in the semi-finals. They will be up against the top two teams from the Northern Conference on March 13th at the Sir Ignatius Kelage Stadium in Lae.
Congratulations to the team, also to the other four clubs
that have come on board, Port Moresby Academy, Port Moresby FC, NCDC FC and Amwana FC. Without those clubs, we will not have women's teams here in the southern region. So I want to say thank you to all of the clubs that came and participated and made our southern region very successful. So thank you very much. In a week time, I know the two teams here will represent southern region in the northern region for the semi-finals. So I just want to say thank everybody for their support. This is the first league of the WNSL we've completed. We will complete the northern in a week and a half.
One of the cornerstones of President Kapinato's platform is to see the development of the women's game in the country, complementing the dominant performance of the PNG women's football team at regional level for several years. Being one of 4 countries in the region with a national women's football competition, the PNG FA hopes that the WNSL will lift the standard of the women's game in preparation for the FIFA Women's World Cup in 2023, co-hosted by Australia and New Zealand.
In Oceania, you will see that only 3 countries are playing women WNSL for the first time. Tahiti, Solomon Islands, and PNG. Just recently, Fiji has started the WNSL. NSL are gearing up for the 2023 World Cup in New Zealand and Australia. I think, by the way, I'm looking at our ladies playing, we're going to make it. We all must believe in a dream. If we don't believe in a dream and support these young girls to play, we will never get there. I have a heart for it, I have a vision for it. The parents out there, the spectators coming up to cheer you, we must all have a dream to get there. Nothing is impossible. I have that faith. And on behalf of PNGFA and FIFA OFC, we're going to do all our best to support our women to the 2023 World Cup.
Haksilovai, Chukai Sports.
With the Women's National Soccer League heading into the final series, the competition is paving the way for a successful Women's World Cup qualifier campaign for the national women's football team. Former PNG representative Deslin Siniu says that the women's competition has been a success.
There is a big prospect for the national women's football team in Papua New Guinea to make it all the way to the Women's World Cup in 2023, which will be co-hosted by Australia and New Zealand. Vice Chair Lady of the Women's National Soccer League, Deslin Siniu, a former captain of the national women's football team, says the team needs all the support they can get to make it all the way to the World Cup and also improve their performance against long-time Oceania rivals New Zealand.
I think one of our challenges is the support that women especially in football doesn't get. I believe that with the support, PNG women can excel. Because if you look at the competitions leading up to the World Cup and Olympic Games, PNG women we just have a step into that arena, into the international arena, because I think our major obstacle is New Zealand.
There is one thing that the Women's National Soccer League competition has unearthed, and that is the multitude of talent that was not on display in the past. The level of competition has also seen some improvement as the competition progressed. Deslin says with the right amount of support from various sectors, coupled with the success of the Women's National Soccer League, PNG can beat New Zealand.
If a lot of support has been given to women, I believe because PNG has a lot of talents, there's a lot of potential that the girls have. And if more support and more funding into the women's football, I believe that we can beat New Zealand.
Papua New Guinea is aiming for the 2023 Women's World Cup, co-hosted by Australia and New Zealand. It is not an easy feat for the women's national team, but with the success of the Women's National Soccer League, it is a step in the right direction to build a team that can be competitive outside of the Pacific region.
Women are very special to men in saying that is that they have only 2 years away if they can crack into the Women's World Cup in New Zealand and Australia. So we're not very far. And our women rank second to New Zealand. So if we can have a competition like this in the fall or this coming year, I think the selectors are already picking the team in preparations.
Fidelis Sukina, True Krai Sports.
True Krai Sports continues with more after the break. Stay tuned.
True Krai Sports.
Welcome back to True Krai Sports. Rugby Union makes its return to Bava Park in 2021 with the Capital Rugby Union staging its pre-season matches over the weekend, with clubs, officials and players keen on taking to the field after a disrupted 2020 season.
Capital Rugby Union's second week of pre-season matches got underway last weekend as teams took to the field at Bava Park, with the Rugby Union fraternity in Port Moresby eager to put the 2020 season behind them and focus on the promising year ahead. With an emphasis on junior development this season, CRU has introduced the Under-17 division, providing a steady and consistent development path for young players coming through the ranks for their respective clubs.
It's a new division for our competition this year. Obviously, you know, we don't have a proper schools competition, so the 17s. There's a lot of them in that age group that are playing in the under-19s. It's in most cases a mismatch for them. It's great. It's great for our competition. Obviously, we now have 10 teams, 2 clubs joining us this season. MBB Marlins and just recently admitted to our competition, Royals. Unfortunately, because they've just, you know, the application was just accepted. So there are a few teams that they need to sort out before they are ready to play. So we may not have them playing in the preseason, and that message has been conveyed to the club, and they're fully aware of that.
Huxley Lovai, True Krai Sports.
That story wraps up True Krai Sports, the weather report for the next 24 hours after these messages.
True Krai Sports. True Krai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
Weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow. In the southern region, Port Moresby, equally squally rain periods. Daru, cloudy with squally showers. Kerma, cloudy periods with patchy cloudy rain. Alotau, cloudy with some showers. Popondetta, cloudy with rain periods. Momase, Inlay, cloudy with brief showers. Medang, Wewak and Vanimo to experience cloudy periods. In the New Guinea Islands region, Lorengau, cloudy periods with few overnight showers. Kavieng, few showers. Kokopo and Rabaul, cloudy with brief overnight showers. Buka, cloudy with few showers. Kimbe, cloudy with some showers. And in the Highlands region, Mount Hagen, few overnight showers, then morning fog. Morning fog clearing, then mostly cloudy with afternoon rain showers. Goroka and Kundiawa, brief overnight showers, then morning fog. Mendi and Wabeg, overnight showers, then morning fog.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
And that's the news, sports and weather for today, Monday, the 1st of March 2021. And a reminder, EMTV will live stream pictures from the Haus Krai for Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare on our Facebook page starting tonight at 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. On behalf of EMTV News Team, pleasant viewing, good night.